Hello, welcome to the commentary for episode 6 of season 2 of Cobra Kai. I don't fancy a long introduction this time. So, I suppose get your episode ready. We're after the midpoint, which will be rather exciting. Sorry, just got a notification. Let's ignore it for now. Just the YouTube one. Okay, episode in 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, there's there's definitely a highlight in this episode I remember already, and I'll give you a clue. It's hang on, I'm on the wrong episode. Hang on, just put your episode back to number 1 and 0. So yeah, episode 6 called Take It Right. Okay, now let's begin it. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, let's go in 3, 2, 1, go. I didn't have to do it twice. Okay, so despite my highlight and remembering what happens on the Miyagi-Do side of things, what else happens? I guess we'll find out. Oh my gosh, did oh my god, like the managed to, oh my god, the doors and breaking the fences and replacing the lamp. Oh my gosh, that is a lot of destruction. Yeah, and also the spray off the spray can was only spraying wood, so yeah, I think that's easy to try. Oh no, oh okay, so this is what we must have been seeing how Miyagi formed the place in the first place. Oh, I forgot about that. So yeah, he must have yeah. In fact, what did he make the place in the first place? Was it to practice this in his own time, or was he expecting to train someone? I suppose I need to rewatch the first film. But yeah, then we should just have his transition to see what it's like now. So it looks like Daniel's, calmed down a bit. I know he's going to get sorted. Or just make a start on tidying up. I say it despite being Kreese's their fault. If anything, I don't think Kreese would have said, "Oh, do like a really good proper babe back." Or although, I can see Kreese suspecting of Hawk there, and oh god, yeah, burpees are really hard to do. Oh, here he is. We haven't seen him in ages. I think that's where Hawk's like, oh, I bet he must have think it was me, but Ian is going to continue anyway, because he is going to be, Johnny will go really mad whoever did this. What was I saying earlier? Oh yeah, so yeah, Kreese definitely didn't say, say, oh, do something really bad, but Kreese only said, oh, you haven't lost yet. But yeah, so I think it's so yeah, it's interesting to see the difference between the influence versus the choice. Yeah, I think that's in debate. Okay, nice to give them a break. Yeah, they. Oh, okay. So despite the look, yeah, Kreese does have a more interesting idea. He has, and also from the phone call Johnny had earlier, so he's catching up with someone old, from his past, and then, I wonder what Johnny says, because obviously Kreese doesn't really give him doesn't really say, "Oh, you did it," and then pass it to Johnny. It was, yeah, I'll just see what um, Yeah, we'll just see how the episode plays out. But yeah, the phone call that Johnny had, we'll see how that it is. Am I yeah, the sentence, how bad is it? You know, that just goes to show that something's not right. But the question is, who was on the opposite side of that phone? Yep, absolutely. With more people. Definitely the case at the end of this episode. Oh, yeah, Robbie seems to recognise him. Oh, Daniel wonders. Oh, yes, he does seem like an honest chap. Yeah, I would believe him, you know, from how timid he is. Yeah, Dimitri just seems to be very, in fact, yeah, both, oh, there you go, using the. Nice try, Dimitri. Yeah, because yeah, they would have spent Cobra Kai in there for a short amount of time, so it's nice for Daniel to be open, and we can, you know, we find out why Daniel's very optimistic about them a lot, but Dimitri and Robbie, you know, don't seem to be too keen, and yeah, they look like they just had that look towards one another. And this is where Johnny encounters his past mates, which is really nice. Yeah, yeah, because that one's the priest, isn't he? Although something I wondered about is that did none of his mates help Johnny, you know, when Robbie was born and getting drunk and that and getting a bad job? Like, did none of his mates help? Unless he's did Johnny like push him away? I guess we might find out. Unless Johnny didn't want to get his mates mixed in all of it. Yeah, because with three of them about makes you wonder who else is going to come. Because apparently one other um, Cobra Kai student who was in the first film hasn't shown up yet in the series. Oh, 83. Yeah, 83 must have been a really good year for Cobra Kai until the following year. Okay, so that's. Oh, okay, so the blue shirt is Jimmy. Okay. Yeah, you can already tell that they're close mates, and so yeah, we're going to get some a bit more depth of those mates from the first film, which is yeah, it's something I wouldn't have really expected, but you know, to see them, yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, and it's not letting, yeah, and it's not going to get him slowing down. Yeah, I think that Johnny's plot right there. It's yeah, not only probably the best part of this episode, but um, just one of the highlights of this whole season. Oh my god, is that true? About the Navy SEALs, crikey. Oh, yeah. So all of this, yeah. So just like the whole pointing the finger thing, that was, it was, yeah. It's just like driving them apart in the whole finger pointing and being, worn out from the exercise. And then also interesting for Kreese to solo out Hawk, only to say, oh, it could be any of you. Well, and yeah, now Kreese is talking about if one of you make this decision, then it's going to influence the whole community. Yeah, and also Greece has enough presence to say stop, and they all stop. Before Miguel and the other person start fighting each other. Oh yes, now Greece has the dodo to himself. Who knows what he's going to do? North Hollywood. I'm just suddenly noticed. So that's where the valleys are set in. Is the valleys a real place? Second one in a row. I kind of missed what Amanda said. I wanted to find out. Yeah, so yeah, it looks like. Bit of a posh word. Yeah, so poor Chris is just being labelled something he isn't, and Dimitri's being a bit aggressive towards him. Yeah, but also early Ava can see how more distant Daniel is. Yeah, when was the last time he was been to work? He was probably told about through text about his colleague being attacked. Okay, so it looks like them two aren't going to argue with each other anymore. Um, but so yeah, it looks like them two had to get on. But now, yeah, we've got an interesting parallel with that flashback earlier. Yep, so it's not a road trip in the car, it's a good old motorcycle. Yeah. Yeah, so when we first seen the lot, included Johnny, that's how they were introduced in this whole story, which is a really nice touch. Looks like all of them can motorcycle well. All the motorcycle models are different too. Oh yeah, they're just talking about memories. Yeah, Ali's birthday. Oh, and that. Oh, okay. Wait, she dumped Johnny on her birthday. Wow. Stucker, what does that mean? Okay, so yeah, now he's um updating them for what's currently happening. Yeah, and he's even being honest with them by saying, "Oh, we're going to use using the same label," and it's made all of them, wonder. yeah, so all of them were just wondering then because, knowing what Cobra Kai was like. But later on, Johnny does say that Kreese was there too. But when Johnny was saying about not all of it's back, we can assume he's talking about when Johnny tries to keep a lid on with some of the students. So I think that's what he means by that. But if Cobra Kai is what helped Johnny all those years ago, then yeah, and it's just helped him again now. So yeah, that's why he's kept the label. But of course, later on in the season, he decides to go for his own dojo after Cobra Kai being too much, etc. A lot of factors in it. Also, really interesting scene. Kreese telling the student to finish off an opponent, and Miguel's trying to challenge Kreese as well. Yeah, and this is where Kreese is saying, because Kreese's point of view is that it's not just a sport, it's just something that will be happening in real life. Yeah, I think Daniel's trying not to be scared then, but it looks like Tori's taking in the advice then. Oh, brainwash is too strong of a viewpoint. Because for someone who's quite broad-minded, he sees very little of Cobra Kai, but understandably. Daniel doesn't know what to make of this. What's Robbie looking at? Okay, at them. Yeah, we can see what kind of mindset Robbie has at first. Later on. God, I wonder what the strength is. I can lift 37 pounds. That's 50 mugs in one tray. Ding. Yep, so they seem to be arguing again. So all of that seems true, Dimitri, but you're not strong enough against that rock, and Ira's the wood. Oh no, he's Chris was trying to be nice to Dimitri, only for Jimmy to see that the wrong way. Oh no. There you go. That's Robbie's viewpoint, and then here comes a big mystery. Oh, what are their reactions? Oh yeah. Yeah, so all of them do seem to be surprised. I don't think he's even told Samantha about it, but we'll find out. Yeah, so Johnny's trying to be optimistic, and the rest aren't buying it. But later on, the mates almost seem to be right. Yeah, that's something we kind of know about Kreese by now. Okay, so he's trying to get the priest to agree then, using his knowledge. But yeah, they all seem a bit unsure. But if he has an idea, and oh, okay, so he's Tommy. Okay. Oh no, someone's been drinking too much. I bet this is the place Johnny and Resh used to go to, and of course, seeing him being a bit yeah. So They watched him. Yeah, they just watched him be too familiar with a woman, and then, despite asking a nice request, he just started being really mean. And now your everyday bar fight starts coming about. Oh, that all of them still got it in them. Even he's surprised that it's all gone back to him. Yeah, we're somewhat familiar with that by now. Oh, there you go. um, on a. Oh, yeah, I really like this shot. Yeah, 4 warriors. Yeah, I think the bar fight would have gone a lot longer if it wasn't for the 4 of them knowing how to end a fight. We'll come back to that fight actually. And then this is where Daniel talks more about the events of Karate Kid 3. Yeah, Daniel was being like almost forced into competition because of what Mike Barnes was doing. And yeah, it's just pushed them both away. And there we go, first time we've seen Terry in this show, despite being a flashback. Oh, Sam never knew. But yeah, it's it's just something he never really wanted to bring up, especially when he wants to raise his kids with the Miyagi-Do kind of way. Okay, so he's thinking more broadly this time, where he's just seeing both sides. Like, yes, it can make you tough, but it seems to lead to consequences. Yeah, and this is where after talking about how Cobra Kai students can be far better, especially as Daniel gets back into Miyagi-Do, and after you know being temporary Cobra Kai and Karate Kid 3, um, yeah, it's definitely cleared a lot of the air. Um, yeah, and it'll help the whole Miyagi-Do team get on. Oh yeah, I've used those pads before. They're a bit tricky to use sometimes. Oh, so Tori seems to be more familiar of Chris's logic. Because yeah, Miguel's had mostly a peaceful life, especially with Carmen trying to get Miguel away from her ex-husband. But as we see later on, Tori seems to be, um, she seems to be a bit more familiar. Yeah, and what I really like about this this scene from her is that it's like as said here, it's a black and white. Definitely not. It's not. It's not theft, but it is. With the situation she was talking about, and she's you can already see some similarities with her and Chris already, which is partly why they get on, and Miguel does seem to understand that. Oh, there you go. They're both using the room. Um, um, you two, we could try and help instead of watching. Oh god, they're gonna really struggle. Okay, it's only taken 2 of them. Maybe Daniel wanted to let them bond. really didn't. Well, I wondered if he was familiar enough about the way to the Rock. Well, he still set a good example. The Rock's up. Oh, hand gestures nowadays, or hand greeting, whatever you like to call it. So yeah, Miyagi Do are all as one, which yeah, really nice for them. Their best success so far in this whole season. Yeah, I saw like camping stuff on their bikes. Yeah, I do vaguely remember they do stay in this woods overnight. Yeah, this probably sounds like something they sometimes do. Sorry if you heard my burp. Freshman year. What does that mean? But yeah, I see, because that's something you wonder, like, if Johnny used to be with Ali, what did the others think? And we at least know what Tommy was thinking about it back then. Yeah, and yes, surprisingly enough, it looks like they were good enough mates at a point where they didn't fight over it. It looks like Tommy was nice enough to give Johnny a proper chance without forming a triangle. Then like, oh, yeah, so Johnny really had a special connection with Ali then. Yeah, I was wondering what Tommy meant by that line, but oh, okay. Oh, I see. Um, okay. That explains why. He's talking about. He's linking to the conversation about being with someone, and yeah, later on we do see about Johnny finding someone. Well, not only in the some of the following episodes, but just across the whole show. So yeah, I'll have to make the first stepping stone come from this moment from there from Tommy. That's a really nice way to start that part of Johnny's new way of life. They all like the same kind of beer as well. Yeah, what a really nice moment. Yeah, I say yeah. Season one did have its sad moments, but season two already had quite a lot of emotional moments. Oh wow, Chris knows how to do those. God, it makes him so fearsome. And from what Tori was talking about, is made whether it's influence from Tori or not. At least Miguel still wants to clear the air, and Chris, understands that. Yeah, yeah, especially because of Johnny. Oh, oh no. Yeah, because Miguel might start agreeing with Chris, especially with Johnny walking back a what um, he was saying during the time of the tournament. So yeah, it looks like Chris wasn't really on Johnny's side after all. He's after things being done his way, and hopefully, yeah, I don't think Miguel's that influenced, but I suppose we'll see that over time. and then you can see more of Grease's influence there. But yeah, not to mention poor Tommy is gone. And he's even playing. Is this Queen's last single? Because was Freddie still like he died during the production of this song? Um, I think that was the case. So you had to choose that song. Yeah, it's really a fitting from, well, just fitting for that moment. And yeah, and even though the song lyrics seem to be multi-purposeful because it's Grease progressing with his students and Daniel progressing with his, and the rest of the lads, well, especially Johnny has time to make amends. He can still go on. Yeah, just like what Tommy was saying earlier. Uh, I don't think I've ever seen the actor in anything else, but yeah, I'll give him that. Yeah, well done, mate. It will definitely be missed. Yeah, there's about only, being in parts of the episode, it's still gets the job done. Just goes to show how good these writers are. Yeah, just the amount of respect they give for those characters. It does remind me of um, yeah, Maverick, where they, when they look back on. I know, I presume that the actor of Goose is still alive, unless I'm wrong. But yeah, the way they look back on it with enough respect and layers, just it's something that's explored thoroughly. Yeah, it's just really refreshing nowadays to see that kind of reverence, you know, being like used very carefully in media like this. Yeah. Anyway, um, yeah, I'm just. This is my. You know what? I think this is my favourite episode of season two. There's parts of the second to last one I like, but yeah, I think that's something to think about. Yeah, it's just a very interesting because if the midpoint is representing a different turn to the story, um, we have Daniel who goes from struggling to finally students to then finally having some, especially after Cobra Kai has done the damage to him. And Cobra Kai's lost the students, and without Johnny's presence, Cobra Kai's now steering into a new direction. Because I think even with Johnny, sorry, Johnny coming back, it Kreese seems to have more effective words, which would somewhat make sense because he's someone who looks like has a lot of wisdom in him, but looks like this other than Miguel perhaps seeing slightly through it even after the last talk with Kreese. It's I'm sorry, I was just still moved by the last scene then. Speaking of Kreese, after rewatching this episode, it looks like Kreese definitely pushed people to the limits, which also is in line because I remember when he was definitely against the idea of people going to the extreme, but that's something that Kreese and Terry like to do. They like to really challenge their students because if you really push them, then it will just make them feel more prepared, but it lacks that wide open mind and just a healthier mindset that Yagado does well for Daniel and the others. So it's kind of cool to see how Kreese runs his class. It's in line with what he does in the first film, because we do have like a decent glimpse of how Grease runs his students, or runs the dojo rather. Whoever is out of line, he will punish them, and telling him to finish opponents properly. But in the first film, when it's like finish him, the student does finish him. But in this case, they are somewhat questioning that, because they were taught by a sensei who's slightly more laid back compared to Kreese, where once you're there, back in the 80s, I think it's definitely a situation of whatever you're seeing is what you're getting. So yeah, to have someone try and challenge Kreese, and for Kreese to still go on top, even at a point where Tori's passing the advice to Miguel, yeah, he has a great influence. And I also really like how Olamide Agade is getting on, and Daniel omitting a part of history which he's not pleased with. And also, if the first season, with all of, with referencing the third film every now and again, like this episode goes hardcore with it, even at a point where it's adding a bit more depth and clarity to the third film. And for Daniel to like talk about it, after all of these years later, it's yeah, I just find that really moving as well. Because even Ralph Macchio, who plays Daniel, he detests the third film. Even the third film won a lot of Razzies, which is the opposite of the BAFTAs, where just winning, worst actor, worst film, worst supporting actor. I think that's where the kind of awards it was getting. But after watching the third one recently, it definitely doesn't deserve that. Granted, it is weaker than film 1 and 2, but it still achieves a lot of things. It still tries to, make sense, with the events the writers are wanting to make. But I think what the first film has is like really succeed in the like the right the writing techniques. And yeah, I feel like the likes of 3 and 4, they try and make sense, try to create a sense of cause and effect, but without yeah, it's just missing that writing charm that the first film has. But I kind of like all of them equally. But I think the third one I do have a bit of a soft spot for, because there's Terry in, and Terry's extremely interesting, especially with what the show does for him. Sorry. So yeah, I like that element, and yeah, Johnny and his subplot. That's definitely um, oh, sorry. Yeah, it's just definitely the yeah, you know what? I think despite really liking Crease's subplot and Daniel's subplot, I think John's subplot is still my favourite one, and I presume it's everyone else's favourite. Well, a good majority anyway, because of how emotional it is, and it really goes back to the first film and expands on that friendship which we only saw glimpses of in the first film. And yeah, and what Tommy was talking about at the end, um, about having time, we get to see how, um, with everyone having their time and how they use it. Daniel uses it well to train the students and let them take their time to come to him. And then, you have Chris, who's not wasting any more time, and he's just getting his students straight into the mindset he's having. And then and Tommy's just talking about like I said, after talking about Ali, and despite losing Shannon and presumably Robbie as well, assuming that Johnny was talking about Robbie with the others. Sorry if I have missed that. Yeah, Johnny at least has time to make amends, which is definitely something to think about over time. But yeah, a really nice tribute episode for Tommy's actor as well. Yeah, well done him. Yeah, I would say he's definitely my favourite character in that episode. Yeah, let's stop right there before we get even more emotional, I suppose. Yeah, I'll see you in episode 7. See ya. Hello, welcome to my Cobra Kai commentary. This is. Oh, I just accidentally turned off the tablet. Season 2, episode 7. Sorry, I just need to get my breath back. I've got 2 flights of stairs in my house. Oh, okay. Whilst I get my breath back, I remember a couple of. Oh, okay. I think I know what happens in this episode, followed by the following one. Well, I just remember Daniel's subplots. Yeah, what else happens in this episode and the following? I think I remember a skating rig, or ring, rather. Yeah, because I definitely remember what happens in episode 9 and 10. Yeah, nice to be reminded. Anyway, everyone's in a very interesting position, as always. So if you get your episode ready, we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay, got my breath back. I should be alright. Oh, look at that sunrise. I think. Oh, yes, I remember this scene. Oh, the poor miss. And that's shown later on. She, yeah, this happens multiple times. Does it leave a message? Again. Yeah, and he's using the word important. Oh no, Daniel hangs up on her. Yeah, because it's important to Daniel, especially with keeping his kids up and going. But oh, I forgot about this. Of course, Kreese hasn't. He's never been there. Terry has, but not Kreese. Mm. Yeah, a really strong distinction between how they see who they teach. Oh, Kreese thinks Daniel is yeah. Oh, yeah, because of like losing him 84, and then yeah, Kreese still thinks Johnny's taking L's from Daniel. So yeah, Daniel's now sees Kreese working on his own goals instead of benefiting Johnny. Yeah. Even those kind of lines are still relevant to even the upcoming season. Now he's back, and also to have his cigar against the plum party just shows the little respect Kreese has. Despite saying my condolences to Mr. Miyagi, he's still having subtle ways of yeah, just like subtle disrespects. Yeah, Moon. Yeah, first I can remember. Yeah, Moon's quite a spiritual person. I remember a significant scene involving her in the 5th season, which we'll get to whenever. Yeah, of course, Sam's been spending time at the dojo, but whilst that doesn't seem to have any consequences for her, it's having consequences for Daniel. Is this Moon's house? Oh, and is this where yeah, thought so. Yeah, definitely makes sense why Miguel shouldn't get mixed in this, especially if nothing else is happening. Yeah. Is this a? I wonder what they're closed for. Yeah, just wanted to quickly talk about the start. So yeah, so it's important. Yeah, so Karate important to Daniel, but definitely not to Amanda. But yeah, Daniel in a certain way is thinking that karate is more purposeful, like more important than he think he is. You know, especially with losing track of his business. So yeah, he's kind of lost his way with what could be considered to be more important. And oh no, that Crease is doing. Oh yeah, it is. Um, but yeah, and Amanda says that someone's not happy, so the business is already at stake, and Daniel's going to, um, he thinks he's still got the balance going, but obviously later on it does not seem to be the case. Also, that photo of Crease, that a photo hanging up in their original dojo. I remember to recognise the photo. Nice to acknowledge. Gravity Creek, what's that? Why don't I remember? But it looks like Crease likes taking his students out and about, if that's what's happening. And despite leading him last, he's still making Johnny in charge, which yeah, okay, yeah, it's adding to Crease's own little scheme. Oh, Yuminga. Because yeah, later on, Daniel doesn't have his phone on him. If he's like teacher of karate, of course you want to make your pockets free, so the phone doesn't fall out, etc. But fortunately, they cost him. Oh, is Sam wearing the blue shirt um the shirt that Moon recommended? Yeah, Chris doesn't seem to be very familiar with that. Sorry, sneezed. Yeah, so this is where they have some decent fighting training. Yeah, some of my favourite Miyagi fighting scenes. Also, I remember this scene now, and yeah, this is where Kreese puts them into teams. Yeah, I think me and Kreese just said teams at the same time, and yeah, I wonder if this is what Kreese used to do, and he's explaining the rules and sharing some philosophy. Sorry, well, his own type. Or Kreese and no, sorry, Miguel and Pork seem to be on good terms, but um, yeah, that's just something to think about. Oh, I think that could set a bit of a tonal clash him coming up after Kreese delivers the tense speech. Well, I suppose, you know what? No, I'll take that back. Yeah, it's just I guess it's kind of showing that um, in, yeah, Raymond is getting influence as well. uh, oh gosh, he looks like he's sunburnt. Probably should have trained on mats. Although I suppose it's getting familiar of what the hard ground will be like. Yeah. But also another interesting moment from Crease earlier is that he acknowledges what Johnny is saying. Johnny trying to keep the lid, but Sensei, what Crease is like, no, let's take this a bit more seriously. With the bands. See, we seem to have a good idea for what this what this kind of training is. Oh, it's forming a circle again. But yeah, it just looks like the heat is really getting to them. Because like they go in a fridge. I wonder how old this fridge is. Sorry, I just flipped my phone. So we get to see Miguel and Tori almost act as a fighting team. Yeah, they're just like messing him about, just adds to another layer of what Cobra Kai does to them. Oh, if anything, it just shows like Kreese's influence already merciless against him. Yeah, so Miguel's definitely like polar opposite. He almost seems like the bully, and yeah, messing about with his um, yeah, and Johnny's seen that earlier. That's really interesting. Also, yeah, the students are now too cold. I think yeah, they'd have to warm up once. Okay, yeah, he's talking about yeah, it's really interesting to break down how to anticipate fights in that, and looking for the signs and like the signs within yourself as well. And who's he or she? Oh, is that who he is? Okay. Oh. Wait, his voice. Dana must have formed a new voicemail. If he's um, yeah, saying about not being able to come. That's okay. And also, despite Miguel packed in, like the bully earlier, he still has that soft side in him, and he can see that stealing from the dojo is wrong. Yeah, those two teams must have really, scattered around, counter each other like that. Yeah, and they seem to be working well in the cold. Oh, that's a good alternative block. And this is where those slow motion kind of moments, yeah, they give each other a couple of looks. Or not just yet. Yeah, right there. So yeah, whatever Moon's been saying, she's right. Even if even if Daniel won't be saying 1, 2, 6, etc. Yeah, as Daniel says, looking for the signs and that. Oh wow, she's done well, blasting this long. Oh, but she was third place, assuming. Whereabouts is the hole in the sock, though? Daniel's getting a little bit frustrated. Oh yeah, also, yeah, dozens of missed calls from Amanda earlier. Yeah, everyone has instinct. Yeah, come on, Dimitri. Because we've always been seeing students like smoothly improving. Some faster than others, and then you have Dimitri, who's a slower learning student, which adds to the right too. Oh, cool. Hey, it's a good grab, good block, and a good response. Only two. Yep, absolutely. Oh no, Daniel, you are in trouble. Yeah. I think Sam and Robbie could have continued the session on their own. Oh yeah, I think they could have done that from the get go, but Daniel was definitely needed, to help with Dimitri and that. And Miguel has also worked that out. Yeah, even if Miguel was like messing about with the students alongside Tori, Eli is definitely the best representation from the going from someone who's vulnerable and now acting as the bully. Yeah, they were getting on so well, and now they're gonna have these grudges. Oh, what was it, like a double hitting scissor kick? Yeah, he's using the environment well. Cool. Oh, look at them go. Oh, was like a good knee. Oh, they can hear the attacking. Oh, I suppose that could be foreshadowing actually. Miguel getting hit like that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, Eli was probably rolled onto. Yeah, because this is also shows what Cobra Kai does. It makes you steely, makes you possessive, and they get them turning on one another as well. That's something that Miyagi would never do. Oh no. Not only hold that thought. Hang on, where is it? Yep, there we go. So yeah, that definitely makes Stingray uh, stand out. But not only will there not be leaves everywhere. Also, yeah, it must be getting close to autumn now. With the leaves falling. Ah, so Kreese seems to be into Stingray at then. That's definitely something to think about in season 4. Yeah, Johnny almost looks a bit washed out, as if because yeah, Johnny's definitely acts like someone who, well, no, of course he's been through so much, and to see Miguel taking the first steps he took, and Johnny lost his way of life, and yeah, Miguel's going to he could end up having the same path as Johnny if he's not careful. So yeah, it looks like Miguel is definitely influenced by Grease. Also, I wanted to go back to Stingray. So I wondered when he planted himself, because he wasn't too far from the others. It looks like he was like the closest to the original spot, and then buried himself. But he happened to be at the perfect spot behind Miguel. So I think that's a bit of a stretch, but yeah, just like I said, I'll just call it like a convenience at worst. We weren't, but now we are. Past and present. Yeah, I used to be rubbish at tenses, but I am now. No, I'm getting better at them, especially as I'm someone who's wrote a few novels. Oh, it looks so late. What have you been doing all this time, Daniel? So, Amosh, is that? So it looks like Anush. Sorry, I'm watching this silently. Which is why I can't really pronounce it. But it looks like he was willing to. Well, just seeing if Daniel could, um, seeing what Daniel could offer, but because of his lack of presence, it looks like he's decided to join Cole. Entire summer. Oh no. Yeah, considering it's autumn now, and this is pretty much one of the breaking points in. Just one of the lowest points for them in this season. Yeah, this is where we have lost an employer. Amanda's suffering in all sorts of ways. Um, yeah, hopefully he will um, well, hopefully, Daniel will see his ways. Sorry, I was just trying to remember what this scene was, but yeah, Robbie's ready not to believe in Miguel. Yeah, yeah. I think despite um, because despite Crease's influence, if Miguel seems to have a straight enough moral compass about um, just straight enough moral compass for what to do with the Medal of Honor. Because instead of possessing it himself, unlike Eli, he's completely flipped. Um, Miguel at least knew to bring the medal back there. Yeah, looks like Robbie's lucky tonight. And also, not to mention hiding the medal as well. Looks like he doesn't want to make the medal, um, a success from Miguel. Robbie's going to. Actually, we'll just see what happens to it. And I do remember this scene as well. He's going too far at the point where Chris wants him out pretty much. That means Chris goes for like a long time until the end of season 10, unless he comes back in between or something. But even if it goes now, he still had a lot of presence and a lot of impact to the story. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favourite characters in the season. Considering the amount of depth added to him. Mm. quite interesting for Johnny to talk about honor because honor is what uh, Daniel talks about. So I think that's almost like the first step of Johnny having more Miyagi-Do in him than you probably would have thought. Yeah, Johnny's doesn't want these students to be having the same lifestyle as him. Yeah, not just Miguel, but all of them. And it's another interesting point as well because yeah, Kreese almost sees Cobra Kai as something to counter Miyagi-Do, but as in season 4, Terry reminds Kreese that this wasn't created to counter Miyagi-Do. Cobra Kai was meant to be an achievement of itself, but because of Kreese's extreme mindset, as he was talking to Daniel, was talking about wars and soldiers and that. Yeah, Johnny at least acknowledges everything that's been said, but he's just still not wanting to budge. Yeah, I think right there, yeah, it looks like Grease was trying to obey, um, Johnny's wish almost. But I think, yeah, because when we next time we see Grease, it's when Kokai's been let down by Johnny. So maybe, yeah, I think with Grease, predicting that Johnny's approach to Cobra Kai doesn't seem to be the right course, but in the eyes of Kreese, that's where Kreese comes back in already, making these students tougher, and yeah, so of course they would want to be trained by Kreese again, compared to Johnny, who would have let them down at the end. Um, so yeah, there's definitely more to it, as we'll see later on. Yeah, another really interesting episode, despite only just remembering the lot. I really like that conversation between Daniel and Kreese because I thought the next time they would have chatted to each other is the start of season 3 because that has. Sorry, because at the first or second episode of season 3, they're both chatting the empty Cobra Kai dojo. Well, not the dojo at night time with no students about. Yeah, I thought that was like one of the next times they've chatted, but no, it looks like they chatted there, and yeah, that's where we get to learn more about how they see their students, and it's also really interesting for Kreese to, instead of being disappointed that he's lost numbers, but he's glad that those who he sees as weak have left because yeah, Kreese doesn't seem to want any weak students, which is in line with a decision he makes in this third season where he was like, "Hey, Bert, feed this mice to a snake," and when both him and others refused, Kreese kicks them out because he's Kreese is definitely into the idea of having no weakness in the dojo, which um, yeah, just a really interesting connection. That's where, as I'm rewatching this, that's where the word "lol" comes from. So yeah, Kreese does have because yeah, Kreese, throughout a majority of his life has been going through battles, and he thinks that the battles are going in a loop, almost similar to these dojos going in a loop with the tournaments and that. Similar to how the first season of Cobra Kai almost rhymes with the first karate film. Well, that's just my interpreted symbolism, I suppose. Um, but yeah, for Kreese to apply more of his own type of wisdom in that way, yeah, it just really goes to show that he's just one of those soldiers who, yeah, after spending years at battling, he's just, yeah, um, it just really gets to him really. Um, and yeah, there's other interesting moments as well, such as Robbie and Samantha are finally a couple. Especially as Miguel and Tori seem to be well established. Looks like they've been going out for ages, and a very interesting. I know I do say that word a lot. Apologies. Yeah, the way Miguel and Tori play with a lesser skilled student, yeah, just really sees what their dynamic is like, and not alongside um, Crease's influence. Um, yeah, yeah, and they're also seeing uh, Hawk being so um, yeah, so possessive and letting the influence of Crease get into him at a point where he becomes hostile against Miguel. Because I'm not the biggest fan of stories when like a entity or a spirit or an object influences someone else's behaviour. So I do really find it refreshing when it's just a normal real life real life events where people like start to turn on each other. I just think like that's really interesting because I'm not saying it's bad to have when something fancy like influences someone. It depends how it's executed and explored, but yeah, I guess it is just a bit like the EastEnders where when you see a variety of events and then it just eventually drives the characters apart. And recently, I've even seen an episode where, in minutes, there's already a convincing fight scene between a character who's had a very long storyline that's been going on for months, and then another character who's just come back to Walford, only for them to have a really convincing battle, considering what's going on. Now, granted, it's not like the same thing as here because this is just influence other people getting the better of them, but it is still just understandable motivations and yeah, just the build up and the tension, just coming from human behaviour alone. It's just really fascinating, and yeah, and I love a good build up like that. Um, yeah, what else could be? I also like yeah, that when they went to the woods, that's something that Chris might be doing all that time. So that's just very fascinating. We also have Hawk influencing Raymond as well. That's seems to be so. Yeah, it's not just Cobra Kai influencing everyone. We now have individual students influencing everyone else. And yeah, Dimitri's better at fighting. Only a tad. He's better than nothing. And then we have part of the consequence of because there's still one more consequence left in the season, but he's got a proper um, gut punch where his business is really taking a dip, and his wife has just been going through all sorts. So yeah, I do remember how he tries to make up for her. So yeah, and how many students are there? 2, 4, 6, 8. It's about 12 or less students Daniel's training. It's a good enough number. And um, yeah, I was just thinking about the weather in this episode. To have it so warm, I suppose it just goes to show that because yeah, I know the summer is hot anyway. Well, this is autumn as well, so it must be like the last heat wave of the year or something. And yeah, because I initially thought that going down to the fridge caused the missed calls due to the lack of signal. But yeah, it doesn't turns out not to be the case. But does tie in with Daniel talking about it doesn't matter what kind of environment you're in if you just look at the natural human behaviour, like the little hints, then that's how you can respond well enough to a fight. Yeah, which is a very handy lesson. It's almost like an original Daniel lesson, which goes back to how Amanda tells Daniel to be more like himself instead of being more like Miyagi. So Daniel's common with all sorts of his own ways to teach, and yeah, and also for Johnny to catch up with Kreese as well. Catch up with Kreese? No, sorry, just like stand up to him at a point where he drives Kreese away. Yeah, so we may think he's gone. So yeah, it's a surprise when he comes back. Yeah, definitely in a unexpected time. And yeah, just a very interesting back and forth between Johnny and Kreese, because they talk about how they're meant to be teaching, the same way of karate, and it's so like mixed in a fascinating way, because they talk about when mercy should take place, looking cool, and the difference between real life and a tournament. It's just a lot of just a lot of like differences. It's almost as it well pretty much Cobra Kai and Johnny's own version of a dojo do seem to be very different. So yeah, it does. Yeah, we can definitely see now that they run two different dojos, which we'll see more of in season 3. And yeah, it's just definitely part of the downfall of Johnny and his connection to Cobra Kai, despite bringing it back up. But of course, he's reminded that Kreese is one of the founders. But if anything, he's probably the founder, and Terry just helped with all the financial bits and bobs. Because yeah, I was wondering how rich Terry is. I bet he's very rich. Probably not as rich as Scrooge McDuck or Smaug or Tony Stark or Bruce Wayne. But I think he must be up there, because yeah, what the kind of feats he achieves with the money, especially in season 5, whoa, it's it must be paid well. I think that's all I can say. So just probably my second favourite episode, especially with all the training and seeing the characters progress, and also with Johnny giving Miguel that realization as well. Yeah, just an alright, fascinating episode. Yeah, I think that's all I've got. So yeah, I'll leave you to it. Yeah, see ya. Hello, welcome to. Sorry for that. That's my phone notificating. A phone providing me another notification. So yeah, Cobra Kai season 2, episode 8. So I remember a couple of parts about this episode, but not much else. Probably the least I remember, but it's cool. Getting your memory back, it just makes rewatching this show even more fresh. Yeah, anyway, let's get on with it. So get your episode up in 3, 2, 1, go. I said go a second earlier, half a second earlier, sorry. This should still be in line though. So yeah, the title is named after the song in the second film, which does have its own kind of theme. It's just the episode having its own kind of theme, and how it's tied to the other characters. Oh, is it the dream sequence? Oh, it is. I say, looking back at where the last scene was at, but I think that's something you can assume because, like, partially because, of how kind Carmen has been. They seem to get on well, and um, yeah, and yeah, I think it's only the kind of thoughts Johnny's having, because this is a dream after all. But I suppose we'll see what the rest of the episode does with this sequence. They do it once more in season 5. It's you can tell that they're dreams because they're so out of whack. And on like season 5, he doesn't seem to fully wake up from it. I really like that White Snake song, by the way. Oh, it's, yeah, great song. I don't like how there's two versions though, because there's the version that has the synth that's played now, and then has a more of a rocky version of the song, like, you know, more rocky from the get go. Um, so yeah, I suppose it adds to the variation the song has. Anyway, the mum is back. I very remember her coming back because she talks about Daniel's dad a bit later on. Yeah, I don't think he's. Yeah, he's not falling the mum. Yeah, I wonder where Amanda's gone. If you know, and when did the mum get in, especially if it was the morning? Unless she stayed over the night before, not sure. Oh, come on, Sam. He's not a Cobra Kai student. I suppose Sam's just worried about things being awkward, you know, like training two students in a relationship, but um, he can. Yeah, I think something that's more you can see why things like that would have been missed after searching on around, especially when, because at least it's neater now compared to how messy it was before. Um, um, so yeah, I can see how it kind of flies by the students' heads. But yeah, I think hopefully Robbie put in a more understanding place, like beneath some stones where you can only just see a glimmer. Anyway, so despite Johnny having um, oh, Zebra, is that a band? I assume so. Yeah, at least Carmen's being nice about him. But yeah, it looks like Johnny's a bit disappointed with, you know, how Carmen's with someone else. Yeah, I do wonder how much time has passed. But yeah, there's already like quite a romantic theme already throughout this episode. Yeah. So it looks like Amanda is seeing Daniel making an effort, but you know, despite the um, you know what's actually happening, it looks like she's not quite forgiven him yet. Still a really good start though. You know, for her to say, "Oh no, share with the customers," that does seem to have a mixed meaning. I didn't know Tori was into the deities. That's a nice touch, and considering no, so, well, yeah, the thumbnail, you know, joining the party later, and those two are made up as well. That's nice. It definitely ties up one loose end. 1970 to 72. Oh, okay. I think Reese has been teaching. He must have been teaching karate in a long time, right? Yeah, it was only Johnny who joined in about 79, 78. He'd been 1980. I'm not sure who Mertis is. But yeah, Johnny's really not up for the references or the jokes. Yeah, and all the students seem to be sad to let him go. Which is partially right. Yeah, so Miguel seems to remember an idea Johnny had all this time. Yeah, so even he's applying yeah, exactly. He's yeah, because yeah, like those kind of words do make you strong, but it can only take it so far. Because by reaching that course, it yes, I know Johnny's talking about having more thought, which it's definitely very personal to him. Oh, there he goes, some levity. Yeah, Miguel is wondering about yeah, so Miguel's just generally curious about about Chris, and yeah, Johnny's also spotted them too. Oh, okay. I didn't know how Carmen met her lad. That's cool. And Miguel's going to share that same idea with Johnny. Although we'll go back to Carmen's current boyfriend. Not all as it seems. It's not all as it seems. Yeah, I'm sorry, I keep getting my words mixed up. he's mixed his karting with his job. Oh, how mm, I think it's not yeah, I don't think that yeah, not only is she like reminded of karate again, but um um yeah, Amanda needs something more personal than just a simple gesture, and hopefully Daniel will figure something out. Yeah, I thought those two were films. Also, we haven't really seen them two this close in the wild. It kind of reminds me of um, um, season one, episode 7, when they have really good banter with one another. So yeah, this is one of the first proper times in the season to have that, and yeah, it's already one another favourite scene of mine with them. Taking advice from a kid. Old jeans. Oh no, he's stuck in the past. Right at the point where he's keeping really old clothes. How do they fit him? First thing to come to mind. Oh, and Miguel has encountered. Um, oh yeah, so this that would have been um, yeah, the motorcycle jacket. Johnny's mindset throughout the app. Oh, I think Daniel just find out later on, but through the oh, okay, no, it's the mum being there. Yeah, so they've gone from the dojo to the house. What made them go back? Did they? Oh, okay. So yeah, whilst the others are at the auction, yeah, it looks like them two want to, because they actually live in the house, so they're probably told to do a couple of things for the house, like chores. Who knows? And yeah, we got another um montage. Oh yeah, I remember how this one ends. Johnny, you should have said you were a teenager as well, because that sounded like he did that recently. Yeah, and yeah, so she notices that Johnny's a bit behind with technology. Yeah, I think yeah, Johnny's gonna. He's really struggling to keep track. Oh no. Oh. Although they would have seen each other's um, faces on the app, but I suppose they must have looked different compared to how they last met, especially with Johnny looking neater. Oh no, don't let him ruin it for you. Very nice callback to the first episode. But if it wasn't for her, funny enough, Johnny wouldn't have got to brought the studio up. This photo's not genuine. Yeah, yeah. It looks like Daniel was just trying to look at something outside of karate, or just like looking back. Probably just trying to find some answers. Or probably have some pictures of Amanda too. Yeah, I kind of get that. Even the way the video camera forms a video, compared to a phone, like an old video camera, it's yeah, you just get that kind of nostalgia. But not to mention, just some of the nice memories them too um, had to look at. That sounds like something that happened. Oh yeah, definitely before they moved. Oh, he was ill. Okay, yeah, because I remember that the dad died, but is that what happened? Yeah, the way Daniel just moved forward a bit because she started to get more emotional. That's a quite an interesting way for the scene to progress. probably they're just talking about an early memory between them two. Yeah, you wouldn't think of learning more about Daniel's parents, but you're like right there. Yeah, I say cut it back to Johnny. He does make there's a scene later which I'm a tiny bit unsure about, but we'll get to it. Oh yeah, but yeah, that's where he remembers about Facebook. Oh yeah, because yeah, the way he sat right there, yeah, he's in the same position when he saw the TV lady. Um, yeah, it looks like he's tried to get to know Facebook in his own time. Oh yeah, just recently. Mm. Yeah, he's having doubts for what to do. I say that makes things further complicated considering what happens later on. Oh no, an accidental send. Oh wow, she's forward. Yeah, not really a date he did, but that's nice of her to offer. Did she say something about handstands? Not sure. Yeah, I wonder who they're dressed up as, but I sadly don't know who any of these characters are. Oh, there we go. Yeah, because after hearing the back, like a memory of her and her mom, with the mom losing her job, um, and also the kind of work that the mom had to do, in a restaurant, I think it was. Um, so yeah, it looks like Tori has to do some work to uh, probably like to make up for the money. That's something we can already assume, but it does make more sense later on. Yeah, she's an odd job kind of person, trying to go for any lower scale job to get money. And there you go, first time both couples interacted, so yeah, that's definitely something later on. Yeah, and Tori trying to make Sam jealous. The girl looks good in Johnny's old jacket. Yeah, it's possibly the first time the girls felt that kind of jealousy, because I don't think he's ever been in a relationship before. Oh yeah, it's something that yeah, the bond about technology going being too fast for them. It's quite nice. Oh no, no, Carmen's not online. Well, like Carmen thinks it's more serious, but that's what I meant. Yeah, sorry, yeah, no, Carmen not in line. What kind of sentence was that? I do apologise for that. Um, but yeah, real shame to hear that coming from him. But considering what that was, yeah, looks like Johnny's gonna have a couple of ideas. But he's just messaged Ali as well. But I think Ali is going to be. I think him messaging Ali. I don't think that's a. It could be a romantic intention, especially after losing to a streak of dates. But yeah, it would further complicate things. But as we later see, yeah, they don't connect romantically immediately. It's almost like a nice catch up between the two. It's all about Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So she had a slightly faulty shoe. Okay. I thought she was. I thought she like slipped, but I was about to say she's all about balance. Oh dear. So Tori's already getting jealous, and well, they're both girls kind of are for different reasons, but yeah, it looks like Samantha's jumping to conclusion. Oh, yeah, today, yeah, of course, the line. At least Miguel's trying his best. But how does Amanda has Samantha respond? Okay, she didn't really get a chance to. Yeah, Samantha's character is a whole story. Um, yeah, we'll go back to her. But yeah, to see that happen, yeah, looks like Johnny's not impressed. Johnny's doing well to listen to her though. Yeah, this is something I'm not the most keen on. Oh, that poor girl. I know he likes Carmen, but I just feel bad for her. You must have felt weird to be followed. Oh. Oh, oh, that's the headbutt he was teaching his students earlier. Yeah, that guy is already not willing to fight him. Yeah, questioning what mercy is. And yeah, Johnny doesn't know what ghost means, fortunately, but at least the guy will back off. Yeah, he was trying to attack Johnny, so yeah, he definitely responded in defense, which also makes him more like Miyagi then. Oh, he thought of Miguel first. Okay. I Dan Johnson, was he one of the members of the A team? No, that's someone else. Oh, so here's a small convenience. So a worker didn't see the first attack against a customer versus her being attacked, which, um, yeah, that guy. Yeah, no proof. You only can make out what they can see. Oh, okay. Even if it's surface level, it's still childlike conflict, which it does seem silly when you grow up, but when you're a kid back then, like these, you just lack the understanding of, just like, why did we dislike each other in the first place? And now they're just giving each other more reasons. It does create a bit of tension, especially whenever they'll fight each other. Oh, so they opened the thing 16 years ago. But now Amanda has a bit more space, and yeah, just talking about past memory. It's kind of nice to give them themselves some space. I'm sure they'll join the others later, but um, yeah, just time to themselves. After starting the opening, so that's really nice. Also wanted to get back for Johnny and Mercy because, after Johnny seeing how Kreese teaches students and Johnny almost going back on, it mildly going back on, what's said on the wall, him showing Mercy. It's, Mercy's like a really complicated thing, and it was definitely the right call then. And as we see later, Miguel tries the right call, but obviously it doesn't end that same way. Yeah, Johnny managed to win and everything is fine, but doesn't happen every time. Oh yeah, no, yeah. I just only realised we just come back to them, in the modern day. So yeah, just more personal, more nostalgic, more time for Amanda to process everything. Yeah, because you can see Daniel consistently trying, and now he's gone for a really good idea. Yeah, I could definitely see him missing Mr. Miyagi after seeing his grave in the last season. Yeah, so very nice for recognising that's what Miyagi would advise him. Also, considering the title, I'm surprised that that song didn't play, but I suppose it was played in the second film, so so just give him Daniel and Amanda their own theme. Oh no. I don't think the relationship must have been very long. And considering how anti-violence Carmen has been, I can see why Jodie wouldn't want to uh, say, or beating the guy up after everything he was saying to you, because there's no evidence that he can prove to her other than the dude's statement. Also, it looks like they're going out and about as well, so that's um, rather nice. Yeah, it's also just like missing. I think I was like missing some of the conversation between Amanda and Daniel. See what else they were talking about. Just another really cool episode, and unlike other ones, they have more of a central theme. I think nearly every episode does, but some episodes have more of a blatant meaning compared to others, and we can always see what this one is. Sorry. Yeah. Also, by the way, when seeing Johnny leave that really good date at the bar, I think that's a subjective thing. I just feel kind of sorry for her because in reality, Johnny, sees a chance with Carmen, who he's been dreaming about, and so he wants to see how things go with her. Someone he's already met a good load of times, and Johnny's close to Miguel as well, and at least unlike the bloke, what was his name, Graham? Johnny at least would be happy enough to be a stepdad, considering the second chances he seems to be keen on. And I also like how Amanda doesn't want Daniel to give up karate. She just wants the balance because it would have made it a bit more. It would have made it a bit more stood up, a bit more selfish to say, "Hey, stop doing this." But that's not what she's saying. It's just the balance. It's just when karate just makes things go out of hand is where she gets frustrated, and understandably. Also, I think this might be a good opportunity to talk about Sam's. It's just she's almost like one of the most disliked characters, well, in the main cast, and I can partially see why, but I kind of struggled to get to that conclusion because I think part of it is because, with all of those characters acting in certain ways, at least they have the history to back it up. But with Samantha, like she does, experience some traumatic events later on, but she does seem to act like snarky all the time and a bit bratty very often. Because in the first season, she's quite endearing a lot of the time, but she kind of loses that, and she isn't. She almost acts and speaks the same way with a lot of the characters. I'm saying, sorry, I'm saying pretty broad things. It's just something to think about as time goes on. But as far as I can see, she still seems to respond accordingly, especially the awkwardness she was feeling about Miguel, and also it's fascinating to see um, her think of Miguel as Robbie arrives to her. So like the effort put in the characters, like there does seem to be the balance between all of them. But yeah, like I said, I can see why people would say that about Samantha, but yeah, at least the effort is still there, because it could have looked like Samantha acting the same way all the time, but yeah, it's not quite the case. But I would say that in the first season she did have, she did react a bit more reasonably to all sorts, and her personality did seem to um, just to vary a bit more. Um, yeah, I still like her though. I like all the characters despite my favourites. But anyway, we'll see about her as time goes on. Um, so so yeah, um, we all get the gist of this season. So Samantha and Robbie seem to be a proper couple, well, despite keeping secrets. But now they encountered Miguel and Tori, it's um, it's like a TV2 kind of situation, which definitely comes back later on. And despite how short it is, and despite being a less serious conflict compared to what's happening with the adults, the tension is still building, because you like wonder what they're going to be like in a fight, especially like, yes, we see Miguel and Robbie fight each other, but for Samantha and Tori, now that would be something interesting to see. And I think my favourite scene is beating up the guy near the bins. Just just definitely more reasonable, because the guy was trying to attack first. Almost, did he try and grab him? Or something like that. And for Johnny and Carmen to go out and about. What I would say is that I think it's because the last time they met each other was when Carmen was helping him out, despite how drunk he was, and then giving him some nice advice. And then the next time they see each other, it was Johnny already having dreams about her, which I think it's just a bit of it's a tad drastic, although at least they've had a lot of nice scenes together, so I think that's enough to make up for it almost. And then Daniel spends the episode making up to Amanda, even at a point where the only time karate is referenced is Jim clean some cars. So yeah, it's a very karate-free episode, I suppose. Because Kreese is out the picture, and of course there's the headbutting, which is taught, but it's we spent a lot of these episodes training different things, so I guess it's nice to have a quick break from it. And it kind of applies to the final episode too, considering how much fighting appears in the last episode, which we'll get to. And I think that's all I can say. Just a nice straightforward episode with nice theme, And I like the history explored between not only Daniel and Amanda, but the mum talking about Daniel's dad, and the way she was talking about him, it's just it's just very endearing to listen and watch. Yeah, the actress of the mum does very well. Um, um, it's just a nice briefer episode, and and it's also kind of amusing to see Johnny, um, just like the amusing moments of trying to get familiar with modern dating, and because is it because it could have been quite conflicting to have a character who's a very like carrying a lot of trauma from the past, but he's also uh, this the character is also not very up to date, but they just managed to put those traits together, as one person. Because if Johnny is all about someone who's kind of stuck in the past, then that's definitely seeing the pros and cons of that. And not to mention the dream sequence as well, comedy gold. I'll just say that. Yeah, it's out of the two dream sequences, I probably like that one more. Because I like the following one, but I think it's good to the White Snake song. I don't know. I've got to really think about why that. I think I only like it by a bit more, I suppose, because it's just a bit out of nowhere and fresh. But compared to the following time, you're like, oh, it's this thing happening again. But it's definitely not a bad thing. And the dreams, that are definitely different. Which also fits with Johnny's progression. So that's a plus, absolutely. Anyway, let's move on to episode 9. So there you go. See ya. Oh, sorry. Beginning to the commentary. Anyway, this is season 2, episode 9. This one's called Pulpo. Okay. Let's see. This episode I do remember a good portion of. Let's have a watch. Oh, sorry, I forgot the countdown. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, definitely what the adults are up to and what the kids are up to. There go, another modern track that plays. Also, there's a pop culture reference later on that which makes me wonder what the year is, which makes me think this is either 2016 or 17. Crikey, I was at the end of my secondary school. So an interesting back and forth between pretty much both couples, but there seems to be more of an emphasis on the ladies. Some place to have fun around. Wonder what Carmen's thinking about all of this. But the contrast this night today, like a peaceful beach versus like the the dojo. Some flashbacks alongside new scenes of the couple. Oh, they're following each other on Instagram. Fair enough. So they're building up this kind of rivalry. Yeah, I think that's where I can see why the last 2 episodes have a bit more emphasis on the kids. Yeah, it's not a bad thing, but when the first season and the following ones do well to balance both ends, balance both ends, well, just both types of characters, it Oh, there you go. She's decided to come back. I forgot about that. As I'm looking at the actor's name coming up, I recognise a couple. Anyway, so has she come back recently? Does she even have a phone? Yeah, why did it take Oh, okay. So yeah, I think she must have been far away at a point where the Russos, well, the Russos, struggled to get hold of her, because they know how far she is. But to find rehab, that's rather nice. So yeah, she's not leaving because of selfish reasons. It's um, she puts the blame she puts some of the blame on herself. So she's really doing her best not to um, put the blame on others. Yeah, and Johnny's just mixed about the whole thing. It's the last time we saw the grandma. Is this the first time this season? Yeah, even Carmen's just wait to see how it goes, and hopefully Johnny has that mindset too. Oh, small pause for thought. The moon hasn't really noticed. Well, you can't really notice these kind of expressions when you're on cameras. Haven't really seen them two interact much, so nice to have this scene together. It's like that. I know that line from the Freaky Friday remake, the 2003 one. The mum's like, she says, "Make good choices." Yeah, as Lindsay Lohan leaves for school, but of course, yeah, it's not really a reference. It's just a similar line that both mediums use. Oh, look what she notices. So from the get go, and also the hint from the previous episode, it looks like oh yeah, of course from the small expression from earlier, she's still unsure if she's fully moved on or not. Yeah, on the right path because of Grease being out the way. Okay, so she knows about Tori, but probably never met her. Yeah, the ladies have no trouble with one another whatsoever. Go on, you two have to get on. She just admits it straight from the off. Okay, I like that. Amanda's rather good, even before season 3. I wonder what happens with the mum afterwards. Does she come back in the season? When, because I know she comes back in season 4 when she talks to Johnny about Silver, but um, yeah, I mean maybe the mum can't. She might have like lose touch um, because of Robbie, running away after what he does. Oh no, it's filled with Cobra Kai. Yeah, no, Born to Rivalries are made. Even this one. Yeah, because these kids they seem to have the more interesting side plot compared to the adults. I personally like them both equally, but um, yeah, it just goes back to some people's thoughts of the Miss Bannister characters. Yeah, so Moon is also another perspective of Pope. Well, actually, she pretty much represents how how everyone should be getting along, but it's just far more complicated. Despite her efforts, she doesn't know the full picture. Yeah, better to say nothing. Yeah, they keep crossing over. Yeah, I think they end up joining tables because they keep talking to one another. Oh no, no, he's just um trying to annoy Daniel. Yeah, it's definitely gonna bother the women. She knows what's up. Yep, as evident by um the circle method. Yes, okay, nice way to change the subject. Yeah, there you go. Well, they keep with the chatting with one another anyways, might as well. It's already quite a nice moment for Carmen. Oh my goodness, some of these students look older. Now they're having a dance off. Oh, I remember what he does. It's impressive, but I understand where the reference is coming from. We haven't seen Raymond in a while. I'm surprised he doesn't have much screen time. He has a bit more purpose in him when he comes back. She's a bit like, why are we with kids? It's gonna make him say weird. Oh gosh. Wait, was that? Oh no, Miguel's there. Okay. Oh, okay. She's already trying to be competitive. We can see that with both girls. Oh yeah, she's even not listening to Robbie as well. So I think that's the other difference because whilst there's like an interesting progression with Miguel because of what Johnny and Chris teach, and it'll be new experiences for Miguel. Samantha's feels like over familiar from what else we've seen, and it's just yeah, it's not petty because just show tries to make it as natural as possible, but yeah, I'm a bit unsure of Samantha blocking off Robbie like that, so it just looks like the rivalry against Tori is so strong at a point where she's not listening to Robbie. Anyway, get to see everyone's taste of food in that. Looks like Johnny and Daniel were dissing each other earlier. I'd have to rewind that afterwards. Yeah, despite the reason to leave, yeah, she just wants them both to see if they can get along. Also, you look at the fashion difference between them two. Yeah, it's just reflective of their personality and their and what kind of families they're part of. I feel sorry for all of those cups being wasted. Oh, she seems to be getting more into it. Did he tape his own hands, or was it a dare? Was it another kid? I'm not sure. At least a moment later on. Yeah, there's Eli really struggling to get over Moon, so he's already having his own problems. So he's going to try the jealousy method, but fortunately kind of backfire. Yeah, we don't see her until season 4. What's her name? Sapphire? Oh, Piper. Sapphire. What a bad guess. But yeah, what a twist there. An item. Which makes it more disappointing for Hawk. Yeah, and he tries to be happy for them. That's nice. Yep, he's already said his name, so yeah, his mind's going to be going everywhere. Yeah, I think they're just. Wait, that must be like Johnny's starter, unless it's that part of the table to feed the lot. How much has he been eating? Eating out of a dumpster. Although they have this nice moment where Johnny talks about a ditching Crease, which does make Johnny a bit more decent to Daniel. And just looking at past, just looking at past events as well, just seeing how far they come already. Oh, okay, so Daniel limits that to him. Okay. I forgot about that as well. He does quotation at season 5. Yeah, I did say at the start of the show that it's watching it from already seeing a lot. So yeah, don't worry. Yeah, Grease, he's not. Grease isn't dead. It's just one of his schemes. Yeah, I hope you watch the episodes before my commentary, because I don't think it really helps watching with another person, because I watched I make these just to expand what we've seen and what we've missed. Well, it's up to you though. Okay, so it looks like Robbie's going to stay with them, and it looks like Carmen is been updated of. Oh yeah, of course she was, because she helped Johnny out when he was drunk, and um, yeah, so it looks like Robbie's staying with them and getting enrolled, so that's cool. White belt, does that mean starter belt? Oh, there you go. He's hoping to clear the air. Oh yeah, so this reference made me guess what year this season is, because if Yep, so this is where Whittaker was announced, because her first episode was on my birthday in 2017, and I think she comes into action in the following year, or at least a couple of months later. Interesting for them to mention Moffat as well. There must be fans of him. So Dimitri sees what's up. Oh, okay, no. Okay, so that's all sorts of like mixed messages, saying that, short choice is that have pushed away, but at the same time trying to find your inner peace. At least Dimitri's trying to help, but um, yeah, it's not a flaw with the writing. It's like Dimitri's still, being is still new with like trying to help people, and this is Eli in a new light, and and Dimitri, we all know he's trying to be honest, but just bringing up about pushing the girl away, and then being told a philosophy that's come from Yogido. Yeah, no wonder Eli's having none of it. God, look at how many plastic cups are wasted. I would have kept reusing mine. They're like plastic ones. Oh, Sam, remember the balance. There we go. Not gonna lie, I do that when I want to balance on one foot. Kinda helps. Well, another interesting thing is that, oh, I thought the chair broke, but no, she has been in the competition far more longer. Yeah, Tori's not really in the mood for him. No thanks to Sam winning the round. Yeah, Sam did seem a bit bitchy then as well, which um, yeah, which was just after seeing either of them get into one another, and despite not knowing a lot more about Tori, because there's yet to learn a lot about her. They're just as bad as each other. I don't know who I would prefer. Who's being more reasonable or less reasonable. I'm really not sure. Right, so looks like both the ladies like to dance. Yeah, it's almost this is almost like everyone at peace. No worries about karate and anything, because thankfully nothing much has happened at that party. Oh yeah, that was something else I wanted to address. The another improvement a lot of people suggest or criticism or like is police not showing up when some of these public fights are happening. We'll probably get back to that later. Um, Also, yeah, I kind of like a comment talking about how fighting and dancing could be similar, and it can be similar. It can be following patterns and different moving techniques. Yeah, it's just really nice. Even ask about a drink as well. Oh no. See, I just feel sorry for the wasted drink. I know Sam's been drinking, but no need to treat Robbie like that. Oh, what's Aisha got to say? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's definitely complicated. Some bits and bobs. Yeah, I feel a little bit sorry for her then. She's just been given a whole heap of information and she doesn't know what to do with it. Oh no. So it looks like Dimitri doesn't know how to, doesn't really recognise the Eli anymore, and I think he must have felt insulted and defensive at a point where Dimitri wants to uh, like get him back, but oh yeah, that's referencing the little internet videos he used to do. All of them in a row, that'll be hours. Well, a lot of people would have. Okay, so he's trying to be some kind of false reason. And yeah, looks like then lots have enjoyed a good night. Yeah, there's seemed to made up. And accepting the differences as well. That's a good start. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's even if they don't like each other, they're definitely not on the same level as Crease. You're not even Johnny. Yeah, small reference to the previous episode when John was shaking another person's hand. Sorry, smoked again. Yeah, they're totally fine as well. Yeah, I was just trying to think what my girl was like throughout the season, and yeah, it does have this interesting arc about tied to the influence of Crease, and then he has some moments of Johnny, but it's just him and Tori for a good portion of his screen time, which does pay off, and it looks like Sam's emitting the medal right away. Yeah, seeing her alone as well, because Robbie would think to leave her alone for a bit, but looks like Miguel's seeing what was up for her. There you go, that's just a nice sign of Miguel coming about. Oh god, that's the drunkenness getting to her. Think about who could be around you. Temptation, am I right? What song is playing? Oh, that's an interesting shot to have the heads reveal who's been watching. Yeah, there you go. That's more of the. Could have been a lot. Steve Jobs, that could have been a lot worse. How long has he been renting for? I get, oh no. Oh god. Because, this is Eli being belittled all over again. Oh, it's going so well. So, yeah, right there looks like the police showed up and then surprised them. Because, otherwise the policeman would, be heard much earlier, giving more time for the kids to come out. And yeah, Stingray struggles to get through the doors. Should remove the tape earlier, mate. Oh, yeah, that's definitely the case in the following episode. Okay, so at least acknowledging about Tori. Oh, there you go, modern Stingray. Come on. There you go, you're free. I kind of forgot he was in the season because of how little screen time he has, but I think thanks to the later seasons where where I kind of remember him more. But I think that's normal for a rewatch. Yeah, and then I'm close now. Oh, anything to finish off? Yes, there is. There you go. Carrying on the theme of the previous episode, am I right? Apartment 1. Oh, look at you. Why is he drinking again? I suppose alcohol is just always his answer. Well, I think in this case, if he's had it in the party, I think he just wants to be reminded of the nice time he's had. Oh, he's at the door. Oh, I remember. Oh, and his apartment too. Really interesting choice. Considering, because if Sam doesn't want her parents to see her in that condition, and oh yeah, by the way, that music, that's the same song that plays when Johnny first defends Miguel in episode 1, the very first season, episode 1. You get the point. The song is called Strike First. It's instrumental. Anyway, but yeah, if they can't go back to Daniel's parents, then it looks like I think thanks to Robbie seeing his mom being less selfish than he thought, I think that kind of gives Johnny another thought. Because even Shannon, I think her name is, talks about um, how it's something along the lines of giving Johnny another chance, and looks like it's partially doing that, which is nice. And and similar to the first season, it does well with what probably not as well as season 1 with what the finale could look like. Granted, it's a bit less predictable because there's no tournament coming about, but maybe when talking about them coming back to school, who knows what would happen. There'll be like raging all sorts of fights anyway, and um, yeah, just we have two rival dojos, which is definitely originated by Johnny and Daniel, and even Kreese in there as well. Because if it wasn't for Kreese, I think Eli would have taken Dimitri's advice better, but at the same time, if it wasn't for Kreese coming about, Johnny wouldn't have realised his ways as well. Just really seeing how much it needs to be like less like Cobra Kai and more like Eagle Fan Karate, which Johnny comes up with later on. Yeah, I kind of like how Johnny's form of karate is a bit less formal because Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do, they're like very bold and present, and then you just have this less formal version of karate that that Johnny's started off. Um, yeah, so just a couple of interesting bits and bobs. Sam and Miguel have cheated on their couple. Robbie doesn't know, but Tori does. Uh, is Tori going to school as well? I think she must already be going to school despite the living conditions she's in. Unless she decided to break in the school, I'm not sure. But I think she ends up expelled anyway. Or is she expelled? I think so, because of what she does to Sam later. Yeah, I never seen her anywhere near the school. Um, Yeah, and looks like Johnny and Daniel have made up again, and I can see how some people might find it frustrating when characters keep going in and out of friendships, but not as only is that normal for TV, but um, it's just very understandable with the build up and what's going on, because they were initially fine when talking about their experiences with Ali and their living conditions and their dad, and then Robbie coming in messes it all up for them, and then over time Cobra Kai gets bigger, completely overtaking Miyagi-Do, then the thing gets destroyed, but then Kreese is out the picture, and that makes it better again. And then, so I'm saying then a lot of times, and then as you would guess, Sam turns out to be staying at Johnny's for a bit, so yeah, Johnny Daniel could be a bit defensive. I don't quite remember why, outside of being drunk and going elsewhere, but I guess we'll find out next time. And oh yeah, so yeah, let's talk about the police stuff. So yeah, because in a lot of because in the very first episode, the police show up when a fight is happening, whether it was reported or just seen by local policemen around in the area. But there, that attention to detail isn't really there in a lot of the fights. Like, granted, there are like cases like the school in the next episode. There's security there at least, although I think the security does become tad delayed unless they did have to get hold of another type of security. Yeah, who knows? We'll find out in the next episode. But yeah, because in the season 3 finale that takes place in because when they're fighting in Daniel's house, there's no every kid seems to be focusing on fighting at a point where nobody's wanted to report it, but even then the neighbours could have. And the fight in the dojo, I think that could be reported as well. I guess that's just kind of lucky for them both that it didn't happen. I think it might have been repetitive to have these fights broken up by the police every single time. But yeah, it is just an interesting thought, because interestingly enough, even when season 4 nearly had another fight between the kids, it's instead Cobra Guy taking the bait and getting wet by some sprinklers from the grass. So that's kind of once again the showrunners taken just like learning from the past mistakes, because I think in season 5 there's not really a scenario where they fight at a point where it would raise suspicion or where the police would find out what's happening. Oh, actually, I can think of one, but we'll get to that. Yeah, if it still happens less and more reasonable reasons are there, then I think that's done an improvement. Yeah, I also see Johnny and Carmen being a couple in this episode, so that's quite nice to see. Interesting to see what happens in the finale between them. And Carmen also meets Daniel and Amanda for the first time, and I do like how Amanda and Carmen, as I'm just watching it right now with the rewatch, just seeing them getting on immediately. Yeah, the boys have a grudge against them, but I really like Daniel talk to Johnny about the threat to Greece was happening, but at least he's gone for now. So it's just a massive detail I've completely missed. Warring dojos, that's what Amanda refers to it as. Yeah, but yeah, I think this episode is balanced enough. Like I said earlier, it's on the surface, it's almost as if the kids have a bit more going on. There's a conflict that's building up whilst the adults are chill, but I think the screen time is still equal, and a lot is still being achieved in either way. So still understand, but I think the balance is still fairly there. Yeah. Also, it's interesting for Moon to beat Miyagi-Do despite Cobra Kai being there. Well, I think that's already the intention because of just trying to get everyone to get along, especially with school coming about. So just quite interesting for a minor character. And yeah, I think that's all I can think about. Just some decent setup and quite a lot of mystery for what's going to happen in the next episode. And yeah, I think that's all I can think about. If anything, I like the octopus reference, coming back again in the flashback. Because yeah, if it's it is normal for the kids at this age to wonder if they've moved on or not. Because you know what, the way Miguel acted, it was out of misguidance and also being drunk too. So it's not the most, it's nothing like directly to her because she was hit accidentally, and Miguel was only hostile to Robbie. So, yeah, so that's why there's nothing personal that Miguel's done to her. That's yeah, I think that's part of one reason why Samantha hasn't really moved on yet. But yeah, it's normal to look back, just wonder like what's missing. I think it could have been expanded upon properly. Maybe it could be that Miguel gives something to Sam that Robbie doesn't. Unless it's like, oh, I don't know. It's just something to think about for another time, I suppose. But like I said, this is kind of reasonable considering how old they are, and it's normal to like look back on relationships and compare. And yeah, it's just everyone's just in a weird position because even Tori just decided to keep Miguel away as well, despite only being upset by Sam. So yeah. Also, we see yet another restaurant, and also I presume thanks to Carmen giving Johnny a variety of dishes. Johnny seems to go for somewhere a bit more exotic for his taste. As pointed out by Daniel. Yeah, I don't think Johnny eats from a rubbish bin. So yeah, I think that's all I can say about this episode. I say Eli and Dimitri are in an interesting spot. Looks like Eli's going to absolutely wreck Dimitri next time he sees him. So yeah, we'll wait and see about that. Anyway, I'll leave you alone now. So I'll see you with the season 2 finale. See ya. Hello, welcome to the last episode of season 2 of Cobra Kai. Let's find out what the name is first as I get it up. Better close the window too. There we go, sorted. Alright, so let's look at this episode. This one's quite an interesting one. It has the longest fight. It's the first finale to not take place in the tournament, and this is first of 3, and definitely will be 3 because in the last upcoming 6th season, I can imagine that'll be a tournament too, unless it might mix both in and out of tournaments. Who knows? Because as you know, the one of the latest plot points is about a global karate tour, which sounds intense. Anyway, we'll go get there when we get there. Okay. So this episode is called No Mercy, which is in contrast with the first season. The first season finale, and yeah, we already have a outside a tournament, and I think other elements will be flipped as well. Okay, yeah, let's just get watching, shall we? Alright, get your episode ready in 3, 2, 1, go. I do like those strobing lights on the Netflix logo. It's I do find them satisfying. Partially nostalgic as well. I kind of associate it with the show really. What other Netflix stuff have I watched? Okay, that is Daniel finally wake up in the morning with her because, Gordon, if you remember, Amanda said that she's been waking up on her own because of Daniel shifting focus. Okay, they're wondering about the kids as well. The son will definitely be around, but not Samantha. How many times have you seen the son in this season? But he's already demanding food, and yep, so they're thinking of all sorts of reasonable bits and bobs considering she's not back. Okay, so they started uncovering about last night's party. And I think that's where they probably start to put together that they're with Johnny, but yeah, I think they yet to uncover the rest. John Robert's looking at Johnny's achievements. So it's starting to get some closure. Oh, they're probably someone who saved drawings. Oh, I've got a vivid imagination. Johnny's been eating them since first episode, right? Hopefully healthier oil. Phone commentary. So this is like the most peaceful conversation so far. That's nice. Although yeah, Daniel only knows the whole way around, so yeah. Does Daniel know that that's Johnny's car? Okay, he knows that's the car. When did Daniel last see the car? So Daniel's been defensive, and Johnny for once is trying to stay nice and calm. That was a weird edit there. Almost as if Johnny went to the cupboard too quickly. Oh my god, that's quite a distance. I like this scene though. It's trying to mirror the 4 tournament. And this pretty much symbolises well, not only is the rivalry gone bad again, but it's yeah, so if it's involved in police and drinking, and also just comparing it to Johnny, that's yeah, that's yeah, because like Daniel was worried sick where someone's gone, so yeah, I can follow that. And Daniel and Johnny, they just seem to really be sensitive with one another as well. So yeah, fortunately they're back to square one. And also this is the Banana song that's also played in season... No, the first Karate Kid film, first day back at school. I like the song. An interesting first guess, but also they don't know. Tori was meant to go to school as well. Okay. Yeah, I think consider what happens, no wonder we see nearer the school. Okay, so she's trying to apologise and trying to be selfless. That's quite nice of her. Yeah, because she was just worried about how the parents would react. At least don't know for next time. I like this scene right here. It's almost I don't know what one of those either, but to get like the bag ready before school. I almost think that it would happen the first day of primary, but first day of secondary for him, it's almost like trying to make it up in some way. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, just really focus on Robbie for now. That's fair enough. Although Paul McGowan needs a bit of help, although that could determine some events going forward. Actually, no, I'll puzzle it now. Like, maybe if Johnny was to talk to Miguel very shortly after, referring to a smartphone. Anyway, yeah, if Johnny and Miguel gave each other a chance to talk here, maybe that might have made Miguel better later on. That could have been, just an interesting alternative path. Apologising to him as well. Although, for a different reason. There's just one more left. It's going to be said. What is? Oh, I remember. Yeah, there you go. Now they're a couple. They're just. I was just trying to admit. And. Oh, yeah, because, Sam was already told by Aisha. Sorry, it's been a couple of days since the last recorded. I think Sam could have made herself act more like, oh my god, this new information. She seems to be quite calm about it. Surprised it hasn't made Robbie be like, oh, did you know? Oh gosh, it's really hard to try and tell people the right things at the right time. Yeah. Although with a school lesson and with your first day, you would have to get going. West Valley High. Okay. Did I try to remember what the name was last time? Like me trying to remember the name of the school. Sorry. Oh, was it that glimpse of the small Eli, only for him to snap, and it's almost false. Well, at least someone's trying to sympathise, but Eli's not having any of it. Oh, I remember this scene. Oh no, don't say that in an interview. You need to promote yourself quite well. Oh, Lopez, that's the name of the interviewer. And situation. I don't really know what that means. Yeah, I'm not very good at many quotes. Oh no, got an invader. Although actually it's just a student breaking in. Tori seems to be strong enough to outdo a microphone person for school. Oh no, the jig is up. Wait, hang on. I thought lesson just. Oh no, was it later? Oh, okay, no, this is probably after the lesson, after the bells rang. So yeah, Tori must have, yeah, planned. She must have hid, and then shortly before the bell went, she uses the microphone, which allows Sam and everyone else to come out. So yeah, that makes sense. You want Sam to come out at a more reasonable time. Yeah. I'm not sure if she wanted a crowd though, but maybe it would add to the humiliation and probably the distraction. Gosh. Okay. Managed to dodge some hooks. Oh, being pushed back into the fight. Maybe Tori wanted to crowd because of that. Yeah, Sam's pretty much doing all the defending at this point. Oh, okay. Robbie probably should have bumped in earlier, unless it was letting Sam defend herself. Okay, Miguel saw. Yeah, Miguel's just pitted here that he doesn't know what the situation is. Yeah, that's a reasonable reaction. Eli's just pushed one of his own soldiers. It's not soldier, just had to sound like Crease. One of his own. Right, and now everyone else is going at one another. So part of this scene is, not only rival dojos, but Johnny and Daniel's rivalry is now passed on to all of them. Okay, that wasn't very good choreography from the kids there. Why did she take a while? And okay, that guy is down. Do you wanna try and go for Tori? Yeah, obviously Min can't do anything. Don't really recognise. Yeah, I don't. I'm not very good at remembering the extras. Although, yeah, gosh, Eli's a proper yeah, like a proper veteran. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes like the roughness of the Gobukai students I can see, but those Miyagi-Do students, I don't always see the like how precise and graceful and alternative their compact style is. I don't always see that with the students. Like there's instances, but sand the floor and paint the fence. I don't see those all the time, which yeah, well, actually, that will do. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't really go off up Stingray either because I remember what his consequences are like. Okay, so it looks like Stingray's made some students unable to fight. Okay, he doesn't really do that with the rest because I remember two get broken up by security guard, them two still get going, and Yes. I guess yeah, that shows that Sam doesn't really know how to use the words to stop Tori. Then she could have said that earlier, but I suppose the consequence is the same. And it looks like poor Eli is a no. I feel like I recognise his face. Oh my god, Eli has a few bruises already. Where's the rest? Oh, okay, I can see a couple from Robbie. Like the movie I lent to your dad. So referring to the green kick. Okay, Miguel's got others around. So yeah, Miguel's trying to get Robbie cornered there. Oh yeah, smart move. And you get to see what their fighter style is like. Also a bit of a shame to see them, considering how much of a buddy they were, or how good buddies they were at the start of the season. Yeah, decent improvising. Oh god, yeah, he's very proper sinister now. Considering the last episode, yeah, no wonder Eli is like this. God, yeah, it does. It does look scary, especially from that perspective. Yeah, Dimitri doesn't have anyone to. Oh no! Wait, hang on. Was there a lock on the door? Alright, so if Eli was struggling to get into the other doors, why were those doors locked? Or could they be like storage rooms and then the classrooms were open? Oh yeah, Miguel doesn't get to learn about the context, hopefully later on. Although he could make a guess according to that. Oh god, he looks bloody bruised. And Robbie's been at it with them two for ages. I remember, oh yeah, the kid caster were talking about the scene. I remember when the students like home in us because of the stunt double losing their tooth. I think there's enough progression personally for me to be able to watch it because a lot of people have said about how long this fight goes on. Oh yeah, so that's one fight brought up. They're broken up by the security guards. That's easy. They're little after all. Okay, I won't call that karate, but stairs are hard. Also, later on, Tori decides she used to race then, but why not earlier? Maybe it's like a backup option. Oh gosh, look at that fear. Oh, yep. Yep, Dimitri's reflexes are kicking in. There you go, it's another satisfying payoff. Yeah, that's Eli done. And one of those trophies falling onto him could represent the lack of achievement Eli has got despite how far he's come. But yeah, they're definitely not friends now. Oh, yeah, that's a leg strike, which so they do try and talk in between because sometimes too much talking can disrupt the pacing of the fight. Oh god, yeah, that's a bad one. Oh god, Sam's nearly lost. So Tori might have killed her considering how sharp that was. She was going to go for the head. Oh, and that's the side of her head, so she's knocked out. She could have actually been dead, but I guess it just depends where about in your head she lands. But yeah, like the dialogue in between it helps build up some kind of character. Oh yeah, does the bar land the bar guy um like bent a bit after Miguel kicked? Oh yeah, is that where the student zoomed in? Oh yeah, and this is the one of the final episodes of this is pretty much the end of Miguel at his most irrational. Because when I was talking to him, I remember thinking that season 1 or 2 is almost like a huge arc of itself, because yeah, so it's just listening to Johnny's advice, which has caught him off guard, although I'll need to reflect more on that again. Oh, there we go, the most significant event. God, that was like across the back of his head and his spine. Oh gosh. Is that the same security guard? Although they all have eyes on Robbie, it's definitely him. Tons of witnesses. Sam still holding the arm injury, so that must have been really bad. The fight actually went on pretty quickly. I didn't really feel worn out from it or fed up for anything. Granted, it is the longest fight, and normally these fights are not much shorter, punchy, but I think there was just enough going on, enough variation, and I guess it was just cutting between characters as well, which was also not normal for a Karate Kid fight. And yeah, I should say Karate Kid fight. Yeah, it's longer than usual. Yeah, just way more characters than usual. Oh, what's Daniel doing here? I can't remember what the first shot was. I was just moving a notification out of the way on my tablet. Oh, was that oh, is that where Robbie was sleeping? He was trying to, get himself familiar with Miyagi-Do and that, so that's a nice touch. Although it just looks like Robbie's also back to square one, because he's let the younger come to him, which is a parallel to Miguel. What's Carmen hearing this news outside, hence why Johnny managed to hear her. And the following season does talk more about his injuries. Gosh, what something to have unconscious. Johnny's never been responsible for a kid like that ever. Yeah, this is pretty much the peak of the mum, being very hesitant about karate, but now she's really not for it. Gosh, it would be hard to avoid each other in the same area and apartment. Oh gosh. Oh, she's putting all on herself as well. I think putting all that blame upon yourself, that does make a bit more on edge, considering later on in the show. So I guess we'll keep that in mind. But yeah, that's what I was talking about. If only they had a conversation, I might be able to. I don't think it would have started to stop the fight, or it would just be interesting to see how events go. Like, if anything, this message just seems to see what a different afternoon would have looked like, but because of what happened between the girls, it's just put everything else in another way. Oh yeah, I really like this moment as well. Yeah, because as we find out, Daniel's in a bit of trouble as well. They're just, just like that whole blank grey area they're surrounded in. I know they're in a lift, but yeah, just really good representation of what kind of positions they're at. They're even almost separated by the line in the elevator. Yeah, they're not even saying anything to each other. Yeah, they're not to each other. They're not with what happened with the kids. Gosh, I'll say now. I think this is probably one of the most effective cliffhangers. I'll need to watch the other ones, but yeah, I remember when first watching this cliffhanger, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was just so looking forward to what was happening afterwards. Not gonna lie, I thought the next season was going to be the final one because of how much of a low point this is. But like I've said, got double the content. Yeah, it's just not only a massive low point already, but um, but it's just how the story progresses. Because if putting all 6 seasons into a story structure, this would be almost like, because sometimes in the fun and games section after the new status quo has been set, sometimes characters can have a massive struggle until they get up again, and this can even happen before the midpoint or even way before the low point. Also quite interesting for Kreese to do a late night class. I wonder how that was arranged. Did Kreese text a lot? Did the students, did they have late night classes and Kreese showed up? It's just like a special night one off. But anyway, I didn't really talk about this scene, but no, Kreese has been defending out Johnny. Gosh. Yeah, other than telling Kreese to get going, I think he doesn't really know how to, what does say? Okay, so because of Johnny not really making himself very welcoming to the tax person, it looks like Kreese made some kind of other arrangement behind Johnny's back. Is that what Kreese did all this time then? And this is Kreese maintaining his stance. Yeah, definitely a part of him that's throughout the show. Yeah, evidently Kreese is always intense with them. Looks like gripping onto them seems to be part of it. Oh, it's... oh gosh, he's oh no, the mistake that of working with Kreese, unless Johnny even regrets opening the dojo in the first place. Oh, it could be either way. Even if it's irrational, which makes sense at this point, you need to consider his mindset. But this is where Johnny's no longer part of Cobra Kai. Because in the up until now, Cobra Kai, the title name, it's the dojo that Johnny used to be a part of and has brought back. But now it's, for the rest of the show, it's about Cobra Kai's presence, which still makes the title relevant. What a cracked rib. Yep, as I said earlier. Yeah, so Daniel was still keen on stopping them, like the dojo from continuing, but Amanda sees that as adding to the problem. But if it wasn't for, because if Daniel doesn't act, then that means well, not, I won't say millions, but just loads of kids being bullied, like he was. He doesn't want anyone to go through the trauma he has. There you go, nice flashback to season 1. I think it goes for other flashbacks too. Oh, and this scene as well. Yeah, it's one of his highlights. Even the song it's playing, it's a Bananarama's cover. Yeah, last time I looked, it had 1 million hits on YouTube, so yeah, it looks like it's a favoured song in the fan base. How long when does he? Oh, I think season 3 almost immediately picks up on after this. Oh yeah, just like the last season actually. I think the rest do as well. Yeah, so it looks like Daniel sees it as his fault as well, with the discouragement of Amanda and Sam getting injured. I was about to say, I think I could spot a couple of instances where Sam could have had the broken rib, whether it was the hooks from Tori, before Robbie came in. I really like that shot as well, just really nice, gorgeous colours. Yeah, because of it being a Cobra Kai relic, the later abandons the car. And season 5, thankfully, answers for what happens to this car afterwards. It must just been lying there for ages. Oh wait, no, season 5 has a line for that too. Also, I don't think Johnny looked at the phone properly because yeah, because I think yeah, well, what a notification to make us the last frame. Yeah, because not only is it just general anger that's made Johnny took the phone away, but it just looks like he doesn't want anything to distract him whilst he's having a really rough patch, and the phone could even remind him of Miguel and all of the dates he's been on until he decided to go for Carmen. And yeah, that was the finale of season 2. I don't have my room light on. Yeah, I don't like when screens get too bright. Yeah, you know what, I'm just going to do that now. There you go, that's better. Right, so final episode of season 2. So I think we'll cover the reception of this episode, and then I'll talk about the positives. But also in the first half, I think I'll point out that I think this is probably the first episode where as evidently I had like questions throughout. Some which could have answers, like the locked classroom doors, or why students come into the fight at certain times. So yeah, instances like that which have been a tad more present, but not much, because yeah, the episode still achieves a lot. It's following well from what was set up back in season 2, and this episode's a really good cliffhanger as well. And the way the main characters are in such a low point, it's I said we didn't really see Robbie after school. The way he just runs off. I think he can already infer that he just managed to run away, but did the security not catch him? I suppose the security could have been scattered, because I don't think school has a lot of security anyway. Because I saw 2 guards, if not that same one, assuming that the same security guard moved the smaller kids away and then went to Miguel once he was knocked out. And yeah, and I think this episode also has the greatest difference between the kids running time versus the adults. And evidently, Daniel and Johnny have this fight which is a lot shorter, and he had this massive school one. There is a lot of characters they've decided to balance, and Johnny's and Daniel's also was cut shorter reasonably because of Samantha and Robbie being there. And yeah, if there have been people who watched this and wanted to see them fight for longer, or if they could have even had a second battle. But I think what season 3 looks like now, actually no, I can't see Johnny and Daniel fighting again after the score. You saw how run down they are. They just don't know what to think. And yeah, and with the score fight going as long as it does, I think if you wanted to cut it, I think that would mean cutting the minor characters more so, because even the like Chris and his mate and the 2 younger kids, even they get their own little payoffs, which which I think they seem fine on the surface, but yeah, the amount that's been added on, because yeah, I think later on they do just act as other perspectives of the dojo, and just to vary the personality of the dojo, because you do need more voices, otherwise it's just once Johnny has more students, you can't just keep having exchanges with Miguel. You do need to get the other's personality, but yeah, maybe the school fight should have been just focused between Miguel and Robbie and Samantha and Tori. And you already see the other students fighting in the background anyway, so probably keep it as that. I think that would have made it shorter, but I guess it also just shows the grander scale of the dojos fighting one another. So yeah, it's massive. Although yeah, after talking about it now, I can't really point out as an issue. It's like one of those cases where it's executed well, but it's not like the most agreeable idea. I have all sorts of phases of that with other media. So yeah, but like I said earlier, the writers would have either looked back or listened to the criticism about the misbalance of characters, and that is greatly improved. And yeah, because I think because in this how long is this episode? 35 minutes, and I think the school fight only is a third of that. I think because I think I really like the first third and the last third. Like I said, it carries on. From last night with everyone overreacting, and then it. I guess it's a tad. Is it that abrupt though? I think the way it's edited. Oh, in fact, let's just see what it looks like. Does it like cut to black? Does it? Oh no. Okay, yeah, it's a title sequence. So there's a bit of a time for a slight mood change, because obviously it's not forgotten. Especially with how Sam and Daniel talks about it. Um, so yeah, sorry, it's just seeing think hotels. Anyway, back to school. With yeah, that'll be interesting for what some events will look like later on. Moon had one scene, the whole anti-karate gig, that her trying to speak over the fight, but obviously it's not working. You see Tori actor avenge on Sam, that's rivalry that's been building up for ages, and to see them fight against one another, that's a proper rivalry set. And yeah, and like I said, I just really like the cliffhanger as well. This is one of the lowest points these characters have ever been on. I want to say it's the lowest because, just been look, because at the end of 3 it's optimistic, 5 is mixed in some way. If anything, it's more mysterious and slightly eerie. But in the 4th one, despite being a bit of a low point there, I think there's at least like the characters can at least have like some kind of fighting chance. But yeah, you know what? I think this is probably the lowest point, and it's quite interesting for the lowest point to come that early in the story. Although I'm not against mixes in like the average story structure. If the lowest point doesn't have to be near the end. If there's one that could be placed for a reasonable reason, then yeah, there you go. Yeah, also nice for Amanda and Daniel to wake up together for once. Well, first time first time considering Amanda has been left alone all summer, and Robbie and Johnny find some peace until until they won't be able to chat with one another. Now that Robbie's run away, and you see the flashbacks of Miguel and Johnny, and even if you just have only watched the second season, I think even that would still do enough to just make it so, because you would have already seen how how far they've come. Yeah, especially all of those flashbacks. Yeah, just some of the highlights of their friendship. Probably more than a friendship, really. And yeah, Miguel is properly injured. Um, yeah, we don't know the full details yet, which further adds to mystery. And Sam's been proper beaten up as well. Um, yeah, because I swear that like after going on immediately, does it then go another day or two? In that case, Sam must have healed rather well. Even as the scars on her arm also look I don't know, like a year old. So that's a tad fast tracked probably. Although yeah, Torik's being expelled definitely lines up with what happens here and in the future. And Grease has got hold of Cobra Kai, and it looks like Grease has made himself the primary paying for the dojo, and the primary payer for the dojo because of an agreement with the taxman, as it seems. And yeah, that whole element of Johnny being rejected by his students, totally losing Cobra Kai, even Grease being defended by the students because the students have continued to make them stronger, whilst Johnny's like, hey, everyone will just take a step back. And it looks like Meg already took it out more than everyone, and yeah, and it's sadly cost him. But yeah, even Daniel would feel responsible for Robbie as well. Even that kind of weighs on Daniel as time goes on. But yeah, we'll see. And but yeah, I think what's also interesting about Miguel's decision is that he showed mercy by not doing something, far worse to Robbie. It looks like he was about to break Robbie's arm, which would have gotten Miguel into bigger trouble. But by rejecting, that's made him, have the worse injury instead. So if Miguel did play out, like yes, he would have been excluded from school, but that would how would that alternative play out? Because would that mean like Kreese would still get hold of Cobra Kai? Would maybe Miguel would be heavily praised at a point where Kreese takes the credit, and that could still force Johnny out. If anything, Miguel could leave with Johnny, and maybe that whole new dojo they come up with probably happens sooner. Or Kreese might not come at all. Maybe they're pleased with Miguel at the point where therefore they're happy with Johnny, but then Johnny would just give them all slapping wrist again, as shown at the start of the season. So yeah, that'll be a really interesting scenario to think of. Yeah, and a couple of Easter eggs from the past as well, like the Bananarama songs, the original and then the cover. That's an interesting touch, and also the flashbacks of Daniel and Johnny fighting. They're very yeah, I can see why people might not like that because they would just want to see Daniel and Johnny fighting on their own. But not only do we get those later in the show, but to intercut like that, I think it just further emphasizes that this is the first time we fought one another since then, which adds a bit more meaning then. And it's also interesting to see as I'm rewatching this episode, Johnny to tell Daniel to calm down, so it's all flipped. Because in the likes of season 4 and even season 5 they start to become opposites, where Johnny starts to become more laid back and Daniel becomes a bit more aggressive, and we almost get that first hint in this episode. And yeah, although it's for these different reasons in this episode at this point, but yeah, to already plant that seed already. And even in season 3, I remember Daniel talking about how his version of karate is like the purest form, but then in season 4 that's where he learns that Johnny's way of karate can't work out, or how mixing karate could work out, especially how Cobra Kai nicks some of Miyagi-Do's tricks as well. Yeah, which also means that some Miyagi-Do can even be passed on without the chores, which If anything, the trolls seem to be like the most professional way of learning the tricks. I think that's how it's seen as, because I can see how Miyagi could be taught without the trolls. But that was Miyagi's way of doing it. Which of course helped Daniel, and that's how Daniel finds it more comfortable to pass it on with the students. And maybe Miyagi's ancestors have been taught that way as well. That's something interesting to think about. Yeah, and the alien notification at the end, just goodness gracious me, there's just a whole heap of stuff in this cliffhanger. There's a lot of cliffhangers I like, but yeah, I just don't remember. I can't really think of one that gives you that much to think about. Just with the whole premise of the world and all of these characters. Yeah, gosh, like wow. So yeah, I think just to conclude, like yes, there's a bit more problems in this episode. Yes, there's some questionable decisions. Yes, the the screen time issue with the kids versus the classic characters is probably at its most prominent there, especially with the kids getting the main type of drama. But I can just see the pieces still working, because yeah, it could have been better, but I feel like to make it better, I just wouldn't be changing much other than giving making the school fight shorter. Yeah, I'm really struggling to think. It's just yeah, I'm just happy despite my suggested improvements. So yeah, we'll end it there. That was season 2, which I don't want to think ahead just yet, but for us can remember, season 1, um yeah, subjectively, yeah, these two are like in the middle, because the later seasons I subjectively prefer more. But when looking at the grander scheme of things, when looking at it more professionally, season 1's like neater, more on point, and then season 2, I probably would say mid to lower, because just a couple of bits and bobs I and others have pointed out. But I think all of these are really close in ranking as well, and not to mention season 2 was made better thanks to what's done later on as well. Bit like the films, I suppose. um, so yeah, you all get the idea. And if you're unfamiliar with the Discord, I don't tend to look at it much. I try to to learn more about this whole story, which I really enjoy, considering mainline YouTubers and that don't really look in look into this, which is a bit of a shame, because I think there should be way more coverage and diversity with what people think of the show. Yeah, like there is still a good amount of YouTubers that talk about it, um, but yeah, like I said, not many mainline students, not many mainline YouTubers talking about it. And then you also have, and I think the videos towards it seem to be video essays covering a theme, as opposed to like an in-depth analysis, to which I, trying to, uh, try and achieve here. So yeah, let's leave it there. We'll already talk for a while, especially with this one being a longer episode. So yeah, I'll leave it there, and I look forward to watching season 3. I'm quite excited already. So yeah, see ya.